If you are considering becoming a hypnotherapist, this video is a must-watch for you. I will share with you today in this number 2 of the series, 2 of the biggest questions that you will want answering before you make that leap. I'm Jonathan Butler and I am a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm an RTT therapist, but I'm also the founder of Help for Hypnotherapists. And I founded Help for Hypnotherapists because I saw on my journey to building a thriving practice that it isn't enough just to have great training to be a hypnotherapist. It isn't enough just to be a good therapist. It helps, but you've also got to master the business side of this if you're going to build a thriving and sustainable business. So I'm today going to talk about the rewards that are available to you and the risks that go with that you need to be mindful of as you start and plan your journey. And you need to plan that journey towards becoming a hypnotherapist. So I'm going to talk about those rewards and the risks. And when I talk about the rewards, I'm going to talk about not just the monetary side, but all of the wider rewards that you may well be looking for. And you should be thinking, having at the forefront of your mind if you're thinking about making this journey, as well as the risks you need to be mindful of and manage. So this is video number 2, and it's a huge topic. So I'm breaking this up into different videos. And it's really important. If you want to get all of these videos, if you want to see these as they come out, please do subscribe and you will be getting notification as soon as my next video comes out. So moving on then, let's talk about the dream that you have bought into. Because if you're considering doing this, maybe you've been a client, you've seen the benefit that hypnotherapy can give you, or maybe as well, you're being approached, you've been marketed to, you've been bombarded with people telling you what a great life you can have as a hypnotherapist, selling you the dream. So what is the reality of that dream? I'm going to try and give you that because, you know, it's really important to understand that there are some amazing people, so amazing organizations providing great training, providing great support. Their core focus is to train you to be a hypnotherapist, to give you the skills that you need to be a hypnotherapist. And maybe bolting on the side of that, they're doing some work around the marketing. And they'll probably tell you that they can help you with their marketing to give you the same access to the same expertise that they use for marketing their business. But you know, these are very different things. Marketing a hypnotherapy training business, something of that magnitude and scale, and marketing your own hypnotherapy business from the start are very different. They are very different. So I'd really urge you early on to be aware of that. And this really is one of my top lessons, and I'll talk about, is you not only need to learn how to be a great hypnotherapist, but you need equally to focus on how you're going to build, how you're going to get the skills to build a successful hypnotherapy practice. So let's talk about the rewards for hypnotherapists, monetary and non-monetary. And let's get straight into a really direct question, because people talk about this a lot of marketing people throw this at you. Can you make 6 figures? And obviously 6 figures in the UK is more than 6 figures in the US or the Eurozone or other countries. £100,000 in the UK right now is about $120,000, maybe 115,000 euros. So these are significant, healthy incomes for people to make. So is it possible? Is it possible? Because you've probably been told, you've probably been set an expectation of how you can earn this kind of money. Is it possible? Yes, it is. It is possible. It is absolutely possible. There are hypnotherapists earning this kind of money out there, consistently doing that. There are people who are doing that. People who are established are doing that. However, there are also a lot of people who are not getting anywhere near that. And there are a number of people who are barely making any money at all. So you can make that kind of money, but you need to make sure you understand the things that you need to do to get there. And you also need to be realistic about the journey to getting there, because whatever anybody tells you who's trying to sell you their high ticket training, that you're not going to suddenly go from doing your training starting to earning that kind of money. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes perseverance, and it takes a lot of know-how. It's not that easy, but it absolutely is possible. I can vouch for that. So let's get down to the basics of this. So if you want to earn that kind of money, that kind of six-figure income in any services business, it really does come down to this simple equation. Anyone who owns a services business will know this. It's about your utilization, i.e. the number of hours that you are able to work and the rates that you are able to charge for. Now, I advocate and talk about making this a little bit more complex than that. We shouldn't be really working around what is our rate. We should be working around what is the value of our offer. What is the value of the offer? What value do clients place upon the services that we provide for them? And what value does that translate into what people are happily paying us for the work we do? But you need to have sessions. It still basically boils down to utilization and rates. How many hours can you work? How much can you charge for the package of services that you do? Now, here's a big caution warning here. I'm sure I hope this isn't happening too much, but I have heard many people tell me of people who are trying to sell them training, telling them, really exaggerating how they can work. I've heard people being told they can do a very high number of sessions in a day for a very high rate. But this idea of working back to back in a day, it just is not realistic. So in my work as an RTT therapist, really, I will never do more than 2 sessions in a day. I never do more than 2 sessions a day. I simply can't perform at my best day in, day out. If I'm trying to do more than 2 sessions in a day, I can't do the work I need to do to get great results for clients. If I'm doing more kind of regular 1-hour hypnotherapy slots, maybe I could do 4 in a day. But really, the idea that you're going to be doing 7, 8, 9 hours pretty much back to back in a day at this particular rate, if anybody's telling you that, you need to be very cautious of that, because you simply can't do that. You don't have the bandwidth to get those clients. You don't have the bandwidth to service those clients, and you're not going to have the bandwidth, the energy to do that work. So be really, really cautious about what people are telling you is possible, okay? And even if you could do those things, you don't want to do that, because you want to do this work. It's a lifestyle business, right? It's a lifestyle business, and you do not want to be getting in that state that you would be in if you were trying to work like that. So on the economic side of it again, so you can earn great money, but also as a business, this is a really, really good business. This is a really good business model, because especially since the pandemic, where we're mainly working from home, working online, not many of us, I don't think, are still maintaining premises and the overhead of that. This is a very low overhead business. There aren't a lot of costs involved. And it's a business with positive cash flow, because you need to be making sure your clients pay you when they book. So these are real kind of holy grail things of people running a business. If you can have those 2 things, keep your overheads low, keep your cash flow positive, and be getting good utilization with high value placed upon your offers. That is like the dream ticket for consulting businesses. So hypnotherapy can give you that. So, and the final thing actually to add on that is this kind of an added layer of benefit is that in many countries, being self-employed or running your own business, however that is structured, most governments want to encourage that. So it's also typically very tax efficient to run your own business like this. Okay, so it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money. If you're coming into this primarily thinking about money, I suggest you stop and think about it, because you need to be focused upon different things. The money should be seen as a byproduct. You can earn good money, but you're going to only do that if you really want to be doing this work. So if you're driven by the money, really go and find something else to do, because you could earn the same or more money doing something that's easier than doing this. And actually, if you're driven by the money, you probably won't make the money, because you won't be good at doing this. So freedom. For me, this is one of the most precious things in my life, the freedom to be where I want to be, to work the hours that I want to work, the freedom to choose who I work with, how I work. That is incredibly important, and that absolutely is available. It's your own business. You choose where you are, who you work with, the hours you work. It's phenomenal. It really is available to you. So, kind of allied to the freedom, really, really important, is the flexibility. So if you're a parent, if you've got young kids, you know, the kind of work that's typically available that fits around that part-time, maybe part-time work, it's great to be arranged around that, but typically this work doesn't pay very well, and it's quite competitive, and that's partially why it doesn't pay very well, because lots of people want that flexibility. So you can do this work earning a good living on your own terms and have flexibility to work around childcare, to work around maybe care, your carer in your family, whatever it is. You have tremendous flexibility to work, and to work the hours that you want. So for me, when I'm working in different locations, maybe I'm working in different time zones, I can choose to work mornings for me, but serve clients who want to see me in the evening in different parts of the world. So the flexibility is phenomenal. It really, really is great, whatever flexibility means for you. But the real biggest thing and the most amazing reward for me of doing this kind of work is working with people like Anna here, where she's not really called Anna, but I'm calling her Anna, where you started off with this person, they come to you and they're in a really bad, dark place. And after a session, a couple of sessions with this person, you've managed to get them into a totally different place. And waking up in the morning and seeing you've got a message from your clients, or from possibly multiple clients, telling you the changes that they're making, how pleased they are, how happy they are, sending through those messages. That really is priceless. In this work, you will be doing something that you get immense satisfaction from doing. And there is no greater feeling than knowing that you're able to help other people who really need your help. You can't get that kind of sensation in the corporate world, in many other kinds of jobs. So this is perhaps the biggest reward of all. So you can make a good living. There are huge benefits of doing this kind of work, but there are risks. Any change, any new venture has risks, and you need to be aware of them. You need to manage them. You need to plan them. And you need to be aware of the 3 Bs. And I see this an awful lot. I see a huge amount of people who come to me having done their training, their hypnotherapy training, coming out the blocks, raring to go, working really, really hard, trying to establish their business, and finding it's hard because they haven't thought about that enough at the outset. And they've expected it to be as easy as maybe they were led to believe, or they wanted to believe it would be, to make it a successful business. So you need to avoid the 3 Bs. What are the 3 Bs? The 3 Bs are burnout. The 3 Bs are burnout, being broke, and going back to doing the thing that you hated doing, that you wanted to get away from. And when you just focus upon training to be a good hypnotherapist, when you don't work out what is your critical path to making your business successful, that's when people get into burnout. They're trying to do everything. They're taking advice from people, telling them that I've seen people giving out advice saying that they post 1,000 items a month, and that's what you need to do to be successful. So people end up getting burnt out, getting grumpy in their household, getting anxious, getting fearful, running out of money and having to go back to what they wanted to do because they hadn't thought through the business side of making this work. So whatever you do, avoid the 3 Bs, because you don't want to be broke, you don't want to be burnt out, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to be a year down the line going back to doing what you had to do because you haven't understood the critical path. So here are the big risks. So while you can earn that good living, you are not going to rock up on day one and suddenly have lots of high-paying clients. There is a speed to revenue, and obviously for everybody that will be slightly different, how long it's going to take you from training, qualifying, to getting income, getting the money coming in that you need to be able to charge the rates that you need to charge, hitting those 2 sides of that equation. Now, for some people, if you are maybe already running some kind of therapy business, maybe you're doing counseling, something like that, and you want to add on hypnotherapy, maybe you're doing coaching, you've got some clients and you want to bring it in. If you've already got a client list where this is complementary, then you can do that speed to revenue, that speed to sustainability much quicker. If this is a new venture for you, it's going to take a lot longer. So you need to be thinking about how you can accelerate that, okay? And one of those things, I'm going to say it again, is as soon as you start your training to be a hypnotherapist, you need to be working out how you're going to build the business. What are the critical things that you need to do? Whatever you do, do not wait until you finish your training, nearly finish your training, to think, I need to work out now how I'm going to get clients, okay? Because then you're going to be in that place where you really do not want to be. So speed to revenue, really, really important. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get there, and the better advice you get, the more clarity about the steps you need to make, the system that you need to have in place, the quicker you will get that speed to value. The second thing you really need to think about is customer value. Now, a lot of therapists, a lot of hypnotherapists really struggle with charging enough money. With charging enough money, again, remembering that equation. If your mindset is, I'm going to charge 50, 60 pounds an hour for doing this kind of work, then you are going to struggle to make a good living. You're going to struggle to attract the right kind of clients. Okay? You've got to be thinking about how you can maximize the value to your client. And when you maximize the value to your client, when you give them that package, that offering that meets their needs, that meets their specific needs, it's going to be high value to them and high value for you. And that will multiply, that will take you out of that place of digging around in the weeds, charging an amount of money that is simply not sustainable. Not only is it not sustainable financially, but you're going to keep you charging that kind of money. You're setting an expectation of where you sit, of what your abilities are, of how much you can help people. You do not want people who simply come to you because you are the cheapest in any walk of life, but even more so in something like this, because people need to believe in you. And if you don't value yourself, how are your clients going to value you? They're not going to believe that you can help them. They're simply going to think, I'll give it a go. What have I got to lose? 50 pounds. Okay. Really, really important. Another big risk you need to think about, and I talked about this yesterday, about readiness to be a hypnotherapist, the attributes you need to be a hypnotherapist, is while you want to help people, you cannot absorb other people's problems. So you really, really need to be sure that you are either able to compartmentalize what you do in your work, or that you're able to develop that ability, that you don't take on board other people's problems, because you don't want to be a therapist who becomes overwhelmed, who becomes ill themselves, because then you can't serve other people. So I'm fortunate I like to think that I'm very compassionate. I'm compassionate. I'm there for my clients. I do everything I possibly can, and I really push myself hard to get results for everybody. But I am able to compartmentalize. I am able to make sure I don't take on other people's problems, because when you take on other people's problems, this is not going to be a sustainable thing for you to do. So you need to be in a good place to start with, and you need to either have or be sure you can develop that ability to continue to be compassionate and caring and supportive and all the things that you need to be, while not absorbing what you're getting from the clients you're trying to help. So that's really, really important. That's a really big question for you to think about. Another risk that you need to think about, again, and this is maybe about the kind of person you are or how you work best. So there are lots of great benefits. You can work from home, you've got that freedom, that flexibility, but actually it can be quite lonely being a hypnotherapist. It can be quite a lonely place. You're working on your own, maybe not seeing many people in the daytime. So if you're somebody who thrives on being around other people, who likes being in that office environment, you need to think about that. Either how can you get that? Maybe you can spend your time between appointments. Maybe you can work out of a place where there are other people. Or how can you deal with that? You really need to think about that, because this is a great career, but you are going to be working on your own. So how are you going to manage that potential loneliness? Coming back to a point I talked about earlier, you've got to avoid the overwhelm, because when you start doing this, you'll be learning how to be a great hypnotherapist. You'll be putting yourself out there, hypnotizing people, dealing with whatever comes up. And it's amazing that it's like, wow, it is, it's intense work. Okay, it's really satisfying, but really intense work. And alongside that, you've got to learn how to do marketing. You've got to learn how to do all the administration things that are involved with it as well. And then, particularly in the early days, if it's not happening as quickly as you think, you get all these people giving you these advice, telling you need to post 1,000 things a month, telling you that you need this Google ads, that it's going to be a silver bullet that's going to fix everything for you. You get all these things coming at you, and it's going to be really easy to get overwhelmed and to get distracted when you need to be focused upon that critical path of taking you from where you are to where you want to get to without distraction and noise. Because if you get into overwhelm, that's a very hard place to get out of, particularly when you're working there alone. So you've always got to be really clear, what matters, what is your system, what are the steps you need to make, what do you need to be consistent on, and how do you avoid making sure you don't get dragged off to all those distractions that are out there more than ever in the digital age that we live in. So overwhelm is a risk. Okay, so you've heard all that, and yeah, so what does that really mean? What actions do you need to take? So I'd like you to take away from this video that if you decide you want to be a hypnotherapist, start early on working out how you're going to build that business. Learn what you need to learn, get the help that you need to get. Do not try and do everything yourself, because you can't become a hypnotherapist and become a marketing guru at the same time unless you are superhuman. Okay, it's just too much to do. So focus on what you're good at. Get focused early on understanding what's your critical path, what's the help. Get the help that you need. You wouldn't learn to be a hypnotherapist by watching stuff on Facebook and YouTube, okay? You wouldn't learn how to do that. You might learn on bits and pieces, but you want proper training, you want proper support. It's the same with the building of the business. Even if you've got experience in business, this is a very different, very unique business to market. So start early, okay? They're parallel activities, not sequential. Understand that critical path. What are the things that will actually get you clients, that will raise your value, that will get you the prices that you need, okay? Is it learning how to make banners on Canva nice to do. Is that going to earn you money? What? No, is the answer. What are the things that you actually really, really need to do? What are the important things? And this critical path, when people deliver big projects, big construction projects, big IT projects, there's always this concept that people come back to avoid the overwhelm, to avoid the distractions. What is the critical path? What steps do I need to take? What direction do I need to keep moving in? What things do I need to ignore? So understand your critical path. Get help early. Get help early. Get help to get trained early. Get help to understand how you're going to build your business early. What matters, what does not matter, because you do not want to be a busy fool and you don't want to end up in the 3 Bs. Have a system. You need a system for your marketing. You need a system, okay? Otherwise, you'll end up just doing random stuff, chasing shiny things and getting into that overwhelm 3 Bs position. Have a system that's proven, that will get you in front of people, that will get you into conversations with people, that will convert your conversations into paying clients, and where you're able to have packaged up value that people will pay for. That's what you need to do, a system with the steps in it. So in my next video that I'm going to shortly release, coming up soon, I'm going to talk about what sort of training do you need as a hypnotherapist, maybe less around the business side on this next one, but I'm going to talk about some of the things you need to think about as a hypnotherapist. So people ask me, you know, what qualification do I need? What school is best? All of those particular things, because you're probably seeing that there are people, lots of different people offering hypnotherapy training, very different things. Many of them, most of them very good, but very different, very different levels of pricing from up here to down here. How do you make sense of all that? So that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video. So if you'd like to make sure that you do get that, say it again, please do subscribe, make sure you get early notification. And if you're thinking about it now, you're thinking about the training to be a hypnotherapist, also start understanding what training you need to build your business. So you can find more details of that on my website, helpforhypnotherapists.com, exactly as it's spelt, helpforhypnotherapists.com. And if you go /courses, or you go to the tab on there for courses, you will see the support options that we offer under our Boost Academy banner for our paid courses. But there is also lots and lots of free content on the Help for Hypnotherapists site that you can tap into as well. So hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video, where I'll give you my thoughts on what you need to think about when you're selecting among all those options, who is the best training provider for you. So I'm Jonathan, thanks for listening, and please do subscribe, and I look forward to helping you. If you've got any questions, any comments, please put them in the comments below. I promise you I will answer them. I'll give you a comprehensive answer. If there's anything else you want to hear about, again, please put it in the comments and we will cover that in future videos. Thanks for listening.